All right. Well, I won't even mention how this topic came about, but no, if you're a man, being emotional is not okay. So, I'm going to get some pushback from this, and I don't care. Here's the thing. You have two things you have that you can do. When something happens and there's an emotional reaction, you can do one of two things, right? Well, I'm not going to say that. If you don't want to, like, express that emotion at that time, right? Maybe it's not the right place or the time to do it. You got one of two things you can do, all right? You can suppress the emotion, which is basically saying, I'll deal with that emotion later, all right? So, let's say, you're with your woman and she's really upset and she makes a bunch of, I don't know, she's just coming down on you pretty hard. You can suppress your emotional need to scream at her, yell at her, throw things, you know what I mean? And maybe you deal with her calmly, or maybe you just walk away and, come back when she's not being, not acting in a manner that's not appropriate, right? So you can suppress it. Or let's say you're at work and you get really bad news, do you break down and cry and have a fit? Or do you say, I'm going to deal with this later and then focus on other things? So emotional suppression is a masculine trait, and it demonstrates self-mastery, wisdom, and an emotional self-regulation, and that's a positive thing. Your woman relies on you to have emotional self-regulation so that she can express hers. If she thinks that anytime she opens her mouth, you're going to have an emotional reaction and break down in front of her, then she's not going to trust you, and she's not going to be able to she won't feel like she is emotionally supported by you, because anytime she says anything, you lose your shit. So, if you need to express emotions, if you have something that you want to express, you want to cry, you want to yell, whatever it may be, absolutely do so. But I don't recommend you do it with your woman, all right? Depending on what it is, because she's relying on you for strength. So if you're going to rely on her for the same thing, chances are what that will lead to is a mistrust in your ability to handle her emotions, and it'll throw the relationship dynamic off and lead to a lot of problems. Now, here's what's not okay. Repression's not okay. So that's the second way of handling an emotion you don't want to address right now, is to repress it. So repress it is basically suppression, but all the time. That means that you bury it and you never address the problem. You never cry over that lost loved one. You never, express anger over an injustice. You just you repress it. A lot of your nice guy betas will do this. They will repress the emotion, and then they will, I'm going to be nice and and just bury it. You know what I mean? Well, the problem with repression is that it builds up and will come out eventually in other unhealthy ways. So repressing emotions, which means never addressing it, is not okay. But we live in this society that is very feminized and very gynocentric and treats men and boys as if we're broken females. And so there's a lot put out there that us as males, we're supposed to, express our emotions all the time. But you're not, okay? It demonstrates self-mastery to be a man, to focus on other things or tasks or actions, and then express those emotions later, where there's the safety and comfort of someone who is supporting you, or even by yourself even, right? So because the reality is, as a man, people rely on you to have that self-mastery and emotional self-control. So this feminized idea of express your emotions anytime you have one, lose your shit, cry, be a blubbering idiot, it's not really being a man, and we've lost that, and you have a bunch of blubbering idiots now walking around out there not acting like men, and it's as a man, you want people to be able to rely on you and trust you, trust your judgment, rely on you emotionally. Your woman wants to rely on you for emotional support. She can't do that if you have an inability to self-regulate. So that's what I mean about, handling your emotions is what I'm saying. So you exercise suppression, exercise self-mastery, all right? Express those emotions in the appropriate place. It's going to help enhance your life if you do. Thank you. Talk to you later.